The Flex Network. Flex on everybody.
Oh, yes, everybody. This is the Flex Network back again for yet another takedown of our fantasy football weeks. Yes, everybody, I am Flex Matt. This is the incomparable. Those are both the same type of things that would describe my cohort here on Saturday nights. One, at Alan Seslowsky. Follow him at ALANSES Low Sky. Alan Seslowsky, how are you doing here tonight, brother?
Dude, the hair on your head for this costume is more hair than I have on my entire body, and I have a very big swath of back hair.
A swath of back hair, huh? Oh, geez. Seslowsky, can you tell me who I am dressed up as? Hint is the shirt.
I was going to say Howard Stern, but it's from the band Rush.
Yes, it is Geddy Lee. I'm doing my best. It's hard to find the right type of hair. But yes, Seslowsky, this will be our last podcast before Halloween. So we will be adorning our costumes here tonight, Seslowsky. And yes, we will also get into a little bit of the fantasy football players this season that has really terrified us, frightened us. But Seslowsky, wait a second, Seslowsky. Yes, Seslowsky, on air, we had talked about it. You have some special breaking news, Seslowsky. Can you tell the viewers what that may be?
Yeah, I'm coming out of the closet. I'm gay. I'm going to be dating men from now on. I've divorced my wife, and I'm going to be dating men. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I support that, Seslowsky. I'm fully on board with that, Seslowsky.
No, I quit my job. I literally have freed myself from the annals of teaching middle school children. I've quit my job, and I am going all in, and I'm going to be wandering the earth and be creative within Flex Network, Roster Watch, DFS Army. I'm going all in, man. I have resigned. I put in my, what'd you say over there? And Heal from Food, my wife's business too. I'm going to be doing social media for her, but I've quit my job, and I am all in on living life.
Yes, Seslowsky, that is a monumental decision, as Seslowsky tells you on air tonight that he has quit his day job to bring the most wonderful content of fantasy football to the masses. As yes, Seslowsky writes a column for Roster Watch. Follow them at Roster Watch, also rosterwatch.com. And DFS Army. Yes, Seslowsky, you are the season-long contributor for DFS Army, and we love you there. And yes, of course, here on the Flex Network, as we tackle.
That costume is unbelievable, by the way.
Is it really, Seslowsky?
Yes. I mean, I'm telling you, you look good. This is like, you look good in a costume.
Thank you. In real life, terrible. In a
horrendous.
Costume,
one of the worst I've seen.
Seslowsky, let's get into a couple of the fantasy football players this year that have scared you the most. Now, here's the thing, guys. Me and Seslowsky, we just shoot this shit on the fly, okay? We didn't talk about this one bit at all. Thought about this about 30 minutes ago. Hey, this is what we should do. So I've got Seslowsky on the hook here. Without any mental research on this at all, I will go ahead and start by saying Mr. Joseph Mixon. Okay, Joe Mixon has really killed me this year, Seslowsky, and I would like to say he's killed you too, because I know you got him in Dynasty. Now listen to this just trade that you declined, Seslowsky. You declined. Okay, 2 first-round picks. And Mr. Harris, the future starting running back for the Patriots, You declined that for Joe Mixon. Kicking yourself now or nah?
Oh, absolutely. You know me, I would take 1 first-round pick for him now. But yeah, no, you generously offered me 2 first-round picks. Now let's just call them. You have a good team, so they'd be pick 10, pick 9, pick 11. Who knows, right? Championship pick 12. But
As
give me.
always.
Yeah, I mean, we were optimistic about Joe Mixon. I gambled, I lost. That happens. I'm not out on Joe Mixon, but obviously his value today is not what it was when you offered me the trade in the preseason. So, you wouldn't sell him for a first round pick in Dynasty, but you certainly you're going to hold him right now. You're going to wait for him to retain his value. You're optimistic about the possibility of a rebound with a player like that.
Well, Seslowsky, what I'm definitely optimistic about this year so far with Joe Mixon is the fact that they are at least attempting to get him the ball. Okay. He has not done a lot with it. Okay. He's getting tackled a lot in the backfield. He's getting touched a lot early. Okay. In every endeavor of mine, I appreciate being touched early and often. Okay. But week 12, week 13, week 14, the Giants, the Dolphins, and the Cowboys, hopefully we can get some redemption. Because, yes, you're right, Seslowsky. You got to hold Mixon at this point.
Yeah. Does it mean anything to you that Bill Belichick called Joe Mixon the best running back in the NFL?
It means nothing to me at this point.
Zero.
Well, yes, Belichick doesn't even know how to cycle his own running backs weekly at all. And he thinks Rex Burkhead is a good runner, which maybe he is. I don't know. He could pull the wool on all of our eyes. So what you're saying is that they should trade Mixon to the Patriots.
I'm just saying is that when Bill Belichick talks about a player as the best blank, that means that, it's just a situation that's dragging Mixon down. I give it some credence. I mean, who do you think's the best running back in the NFL?
Christian McCaffrey.
He's injured.
Well, I mean, it doesn't mean he's not the best. I do like Alvin Kamara. I'm a big Alvin Kamara guy.
There's another guy that we know. We interviewed his high school coach, and I think his name is Derrick Henry, a.k.a. the stiff arm.
Yes, Derrick Henry rode me to a win last week in my 14-teamer that I was 0-5, Seslowsky, and if I didn't win, I was going to take my pants off. On air.
Right.
Yes, and I got the win, though. So
when we pull the clip, we're going to have to see the actual win, and we're going to have to do a rewind to make sure that, this is all legit, because I was expecting a full bush on this.
And apparently we find out the full bush is layered on your back, Seslowsky. Who next is the player that has made you fearful this year, Seslowsky?
Yeah, I'm real scared that Juju Smith-Schuster is a fraud, and that I paid 2 first-round picks for him after that breakout season of his. He's still young enough to rebound, but he has been outmuscled, outplayed by Chase Claypool, by Deontay Johnson in spurts, and he hasn't even shown the big playability of James Washington. I'm scared stiffless. I'm scared stiff that I overpaid
stiffless. Well, whoever thought it was stiffless? Like,
yeah, that I overpaid
never heard
for
that word.
I know that I overpaid, and everyone that did a dynasty startup this year overpaid for Juju Smith-Schuster. That scares the hell out of me.
Seslowsky, I'm not too scared, and let me tell you why. He's young. He's young, Seslowsky. They've moved him into the veteran role on the team, and that's the Larry Fitzgerald role. Yes, the guys that go across the middle to get the bang yard, Seslowsky. Yes, and Big Ben wants to launch it downfield, and that's just not the role that Juju's been in this year. So, yes, he has not looked great, but you want to go and buy a guy like Juju in Dynasty right now.
For how much? What's the price?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to pay for him, but who knows? There's a lot of juice coming to these rookies that you might be able to get away with one. Who knows?
How about this? Who would you rather have in a dynasty league? Justin Jefferson or Juju Smith-Schuster?
Yeah, but that's a terrible, because it's not like you're necessarily going to ever end up on a dynasty team with those guys.
Now, which one would you rather have?
Well, yeah, I want Jefferson. Of course I want Jefferson. But I mean, the idea about Juju is, will he be staying a Steeler?
Okay, I mean, what team would he be on that would make you feel that he was worthy of a top 50 dynasty pick?
The Seahawks would be one of
with
them.
DK and with Tyler Lockett, you would
Hell
feel
yeah. I mean, because that's what's missing from that offense. You got a lot of guys that are going downfield, opening up the middle. That's the zone that I think he's going in. Mims or Juju? Yes, that's another one. Mims or Juju?
You have to remember, Juju Smith-Schuster was a top 25 overall fantasy pick in startup dynasties. I mean, Mims was a mid to late second round rookie pick, which usually equates to about a 6th round startup pick. I mean, and after Mims plays, it could actually even switch further. I think Juju is in a lot of trouble. I think that his value has been tanked, and it's scaring the crap out of me on this Halloween.
Juju, 23 years old, says Lowski. You want to go and buy a 23-year-old wide receiver that's proven in his past that he can be the #1 overall dynasty asset. Says Lowski, you know what also scares me right now? Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas scares me right now, says Lowski, and I put up a poll on our Twitter recently. DK Metcalf, a 2nd rounder this year and a 1st rounder next year, is what you had to give up if you wanted to grab a Michael Thomas. And I did it, says Lowski.
No, you actually did it the other way.
Sorry. Michael Thomas, a 2nd this year, a 1st next year for DK.
Right. And when you posted it on Twitter, you posted it the other way. You said that.
Oh, did I? Oh,
that's why it was so skewed, because you said that, hey, I have to give up DK and the picks for Michael Thomas. Of course nobody's going to.
Oh, damn. You know, if it's cockamamie on the Twitter feed that I did it, says Lowski. I look better in a costume. You said it yourself. DK Metcalf or Michael Thomas right now, says Lowski. 1v1.
Yeah, I mean,
it's an easy one.
Yeah, it's. I mean, where would Michael Thomas go if we were doing a dynasty startup today? He'd go in the 5th round, 4th round. I mean, and basically DK and Michael Thomas would switch places from where we thought they were over the summer. DK would be a top 25 pick, and Michael Thomas would be a top, 75 pick.
Says Lowski, who next on your scary players of the year so far?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about redraft or just kind of any context.
Talk about anything that scares you, says Lowski. This is our final podcast before Halloween. I'm dressed as Geddy Lee from Rush. Modern day Woy, today's Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, I mean, if you invested in Odell Beckham, you got to be scared. You have to be scared. I mean, if you invested in him in redraft, fine. You paid a late 3rd. You got a couple games. But if you're a dynasty owner of Odell Beckham, you have to be scared that it's over, Johnny. You need to start putting him out there. I don't think the Justin Jefferson owner would even accept a straight swap, but I think you need to start just putting him out there in hopes to get anything in return. Odell Beckham, and I'm the biggest apologist for him, but I am scared stiffless. Did I say that?
You did it again with the
scared
stiff?
Scared straight.
Stiff.
Anyway, I think he's a real problem. And
says Lowski, would you trade Claypool straight up for Odell
without even blinking an eye?
Okay, you're giving up Odell, right? You're saying, okay, what about Juju for Odell?
No, I'm not. I mean, that was my other, both of those guys I think are in a lot of trouble. Well,
and obviously you would rather have Juju Smith-Schuster, 23 years old.
Yes, correct.
Yes, I'm very scared. of Odell.
I mean, do you agree that Odell is in a problem spot for fantasy?
I hate Odell in Dynasty long term, but I own him on every Dynasty team, Seslowsky. Oh, no. Next, Seslowsky, next. You know who I'm very scared of, Seslowsky? Kenyon Drake, Seslowsky. I mean, that's a fair one. That's a fair one. Traveling distant teams. Last year he did it. Can he do it this year? Who knows? But I kind of rode that pony. And I just kind of felt, man, you're just letting them drop too far. Maybe it was correct. The market was correct on it. Kenyon Drake getting outplayed this year. Last year, boom week. Still can't sell for a bag of peanuts, says Lowski. Now, you were high on Kenyon Drake. Give me the reasons why.
Yeah, I mean, when he produced in spurts, and one of our favorite strategies is to look at the last month or 5 weeks or 6 weeks of the previous year and say who produced. And I mean, he went on an epic run, but part of that was that he had the pass catching chops. And now he's caught almost no passes this season. And on top of that, it's like finally he gets like the unquestioned starter role on a team that had a good running game the previous year, and he just flamed out. I mean, I was taking him in the first round. I mean, it's not like he was some like third or fifth round pick that I hoped was going to do well. To me, it is mind blowing that he has not produced as an elite top 15 running back. So we saw a little bit last week. We got a little lucky with that big run at the end, and maybe this nightmare, this scary, thing that we've seen with him won't last and we'll forget about it. But so far, I have no explanation as to why, other than Kyler Murray runs a bunch. He doesn't dump off, but it's a mystery to me. It's a spooky mystery why Kenyon Drake has not produced.
A spooky mystery, says Lowski. Who is your final scary player this year? Someone has really got you spooked, says Lowski. If you look under the bed at night, you see this guy's face haunting your entire fantasy. Okay, says Lowski, I'm just going to give you a little bit more time because I have been scared by Hollywood Brown.
Oh, very scary. Very
Hollywood
scary.
Brown. Now, here's the thing. I was definitely in on Hollywood Brown, but I wasn't in on him past the 5th round or earlier than the 5th round. I even thought I might be a little high on him in the 5th round. Who knows? Had a good shot to succeed, but Lamar is getting these chunk plays. Okay, Lamar is the 38-yarder, and he's running for it. Those are what we need to have a little bit of reverse action for the run-to-pass ratio in Baltimore before Marquise Brown ends up on a milk carton. Don't know where he's at, says Lowski. Who do you got? Final play.
Final play, scary, in a rookie wide receiver context, is we've seen all these guys produce. We saw Justin Jefferson produce. Last year, we saw A.J. Brown as a second-round pick. We've seen T. Higgins emerge as the most reliable option. What the hell has happened to Jerry Jeudy? Why has he disappeared? I mean, he hasn't really broken out yet. We all thought, hey, this could be the top wide receiver. He's the best route runner. I mean, we even saw CeeDee Lamb produce with, being the third wide receiver on his team. A little scale back with Andy Dalton as the QB, but I am scared that it can't be right that Jerry Jeudy is not going to be a good NFL player. It just has to be a scary aberration in the rookie season. What do you think about Jerry Jeudy?
Well, I think Jerry Jeudy's hands were tied behind his back this year. Okay. He is not CeeDee Lamb. He is not CeeDee Lamb. He is not Justin Jefferson. I don't think he has that real number one wide receiver outlook. I just don't. I mean, I think next year, if we can get Sutton back in the game, if we can get the ball down the field more than 20 yards, and we can have a QB that can get it there, I think it'll open up where Judy's better. And I think Judy's a slot receiver. I don't think he's not a downfield, even though he has flash downfield. I just think that's not his game. He's a Tyler Lockett. He's not a DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I mean, I thought for sure that, and again, it could still be, but I thought Jerry Jeudy reminded me a lot of Antonio Brown. Good technical receiver, good wide receiver, get open in the short area, can beat you deep. I mean, could the quarterback play be? I mean, even Antonio Brown just produced. I mean, he looked different on the field. I thought that's what we'd see from Jerry. Now, Jerry Jeudy is super young, and there's plenty of time. I mean, Antonio Brown didn't really break out until year 2, year 3 of his career. I'm still hopeful, but I thought it would be a little bit more immediate. So that's what scared me.
Yes, says Lowski.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Yeah, the trade deadline in the NFL is looming. What players would you like to see traded that you think would positively affect fantasy value? Is there anyone? I know I'm putting you on the spot right here. So, is there any players from a team that you think that are even plausible? You can't say, "Hey, I trade Russell Wilson to the," what players that you think can plausibly be traded that would positively affect their fantasy value? Is there anyone that comes to mind?
2 people, says Lowski, off the top of my head. Number 1, Michael Gallup. Okay.
Where would he be traded to? Like where?
Well, that's a good. I don't know where. I mean, shoot, Baltimore. I don't know.
Green Bay.
Well, Green Bay. Sure. There you go. Michael Gallup seems to have been lost in the fray.
I like
Lost
that.
in the fray. They have to go to Mari Cooper, and it just seems like CeeDee Lamb's getting open, and he's good. And so Michael Gallup, the expendable part there. But let me give you another one. John Ross. Okay. Downfield threat. Exactly what Brandon Cooks can do to a team. And you see it in Houston. You never know, but it flashes when it flashes. But it's rookie QBs don't have that constant down the field presence. They just don't. Maybe hold on. Maybe they lash it out downfield out of necessity, but they don't have that timing down. They don't have those, they're not looking off safeties the way Tom Brady's looking off the safety. So it's tougher for those downfield threats.
You know what? I think that John Ross, and again, I'm not saying this in jest, so don't laugh. I think John Ross would make a good New York Jet.
Well, I mean, anybody at this point would make a good New York Jet, says Lowski. Geez, my grandmother. Have you seen her?
Yeah.
Okay. She's a tight end. I'm sure of it, says Lowski. Let me get into our flex plays of the week, week 7. Go ahead.
The one guy I want to see traded is Miles Boykin. I don't think he's being properly utilized where he is. I would like to see Miles Boykin get traded to New England, all the usual spots, Green Bay, and anyone that can use a pass catcher. So that's my guy. So
yes, the problem, says Lowski, with Miles Boykin is his name is Boykin, and not Boykin. That's one problem. Number 2, says Lowski, is he's on his rookie contract.
Yeah, but he could still be traded. I mean,
But for what? Yeah. What's the point? Keep him.
They just signed Des Bryant. They obviously are not happy with the depth there. And I thought that, look, Miles Boykin played at Notre Dame with Chase Claypool. Miles Boykin is more athletic than Chase Claypool. He was a better player at Notre Dame than Chase Claypool. Sometimes situation matters, and I think Miles Boykin will actually I think he has that Chase Claypool upside in the right situation. I'd like to see him traded to a team that can use him.
Yes, says Lowski. We want that for all of our stud athletes because, yes, being athletic will win every single time. Okay, when a guy runs 4.4 over a guy running 4.55, yes, you're going to get burnt from time to time. You got to be used correctly to show proper fantasy value, says Lowski. And that's what we find when we hit our flex play, says Lowski. Last week, Christian Kirk. Yes, poor defense led to Christian Kirk going for 2 touchdowns last week.
That was beautiful. Beautiful call by you. Beautiful call.
T. Higgins, 18 fantasy points last week, says Lowski. We nailed it. This week, says Lowski.
Wait. J.D. McKissick. We recommended him too.
J.D. McKissick went for like 15 points.
He came through for you.
Right off the waivers. Right off the waivers.
Into your lineup.
And smash play. Yes, says Lowski. This week, I've got a couple deep ones. I've got a couple ones that'll make the hair on your neck stand up, says Lowski. Go ahead and hit your first one.
Yeah, I mean, a New Orleans receiver has to come through. So is it Traquan Smith? Is it Deontay Harris?
You took mine, says Lowski.
Oh,
You
you should
Jimmy
never let
took mine,
you
Seslowsky.
should never let me go first. It's Deontay Harris. That's the guy who's going to catch the long touchdown. It's not Traquan Smith. Pick him up off your waiver wire, put him into your lineup. It's like a what the heck flex type of thing. Put him in there. Boom. That's it. I love it.
Yes.
Deontay Harris.
Yes, realistically, that wasn't my guy. Yes, I went deeper than that, says Lowski. Marquez Callaway. Do you know what this guy, who is this guy? He's 22, 6'2", 204, but last week had 68% snap share with 6 targets, okay? Left the game with 7.4 points, says Lowski. Deontay Harris, yes, small, okay, small, more of a scat back, okay. To me, he's a scat back RB playing wide receiver. No point. You're gonna give it to your alpha wide receivers, just like when Fulgham became a thing, okay? Yeah. Because these scat back players only catch lightning in bottle. They're not, to me, they're not a good floor. For a flex play, you want at least 10 points. Okay, you want to smash somebody in there that has a 10-point floor that can get you X amount of points in the end. Give me a couple touchdowns to Marquez Callaway, coming as the hottest pickup of the week next week after Michael Thomas gets traded, says Lowski. Who's number 2?
Yeah, I think that you have to go back to Mecole Hardman. I think that even though he delivered a 0 for you last week, he's being dropped. Pick him up, plug him in. Anytime you can get a piece of Pat Mahomes, I know it was Demarcus Robinson last week. This is how it goes with this offense. Anytime you think that the secondary wide receiver, Sammy Watkins, is out this week, if you need a guy, you're desperate, you're in a flex situation, you're in a bye week, your injuries, I'm expect a 0, but it could be a league-winning 2-touchdown, 110-yard, 2-catch day for Mecole Hardman.
Says Lowski last week. Also, Sammy Watkins was out. Mecole Hardman really didn't throw you.
No.
Great.
It was all Demarcus Robinson last week.
Are you not what's your reasoning as to why it would be Mecole this week?
Again, it's bye weeks. You're desperate. You don't know who the hell to start. You just need someone that you can put in there has a plausible path to eat. By the way, there's no better feeling in fantasy than picking up a scrub, putting him in, and letting him and producing in your lineup. It happened to me a couple weeks ago with Gerald Everett. I picked him up off the waiver wire. I plugged him in, and Mecole Hardman kind of fits that bill.
Our J.D. McKissick of last week, pick him right up off the waivers, 15 points in your lineup, says Lowski.
Is there a better feeling in fantasy than beating someone with a total scrub you pick up and put him in your lineup and he produces? That's what I think that's again, it could be Mecole, it could be Demarcus Robinson. This week, I think it's the Mecole week. And again, it could be a 0. I'm seeding that it could be a 0. But anytime you can attach yourself to a Pat Mahomes offense, we know what his upside is. I'm going back to him.
You're a yellow-bellied lizard, says Lowski. Oh, I concede it could be a 0, just in case it is. Says Lowski, own up to it. You do not concede it could be a 0. It's going to be a 25-point week or bust for Mecole Hardman this week.
I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm in a 14-team auction league with a bunch of industry. I'm going to put in experts or experienced players. I mean, I'm in this league with guys like Mark Stopa, and Scott Pianowski, and Mike Salfino, and I'm in this league and I'm desperate for a wide receiver too. Flex too, and I'm putting him in there. I know I name dropped some industry guys, but I'm telling you, I am desperate in this league. I'm one of those teams that has a good record and low amount of points. I've lucked into beating scrub teams each week, and I need a guy, and I am putting my money where my mouth is. I'm putting Mecole Hardman into my lineup in a league that's important to me.
Says Lowski, my next guy pains me to say, but in your video you produced last week for DFS Army, which is a great little stop on your week to fantasy football wins, okay, which is your waiver wire podcast that you do with DFS Army. We are now in redraft. with the dire possibility that Tim Patrick is a better fantasy starter than Juju Smith-Schuster. So, yes, this week, why don't we throw Juju in the flex, okay? This is the week. I'm sorry, but Juju Smith-Schuster, a name. A big, big name is the guy that you're worried about benching this week. You don't know, but yes, this week, feel good about putting Juju Smith-Schuster in your flex this week. He's the number 38 wide receivers outside of he's a low end, he's a high end wide receiver 4. Okay. Not having it this week, says Seslowsky.
Well, let me ask
touchdowns.
Let me ask you that question. Tim Patrick or Juju Smith-Schuster? I've been getting it all week. I made the video about it, which you very nicely highlighted. I mean, is it a reasonable question, and who would you land on?
It sucks, says Seslowsky, is what I'm trying to tell you. But yes, this week I'm going Juju. Okay, this week I am. But yes, Tim Patrick against the Kansas City Chiefs this week. It's going to be a shootout. Drew Lock has to pass the ball all over the field. Okay, I love Noah Fant this week as well. Love Noah Fant. I love my costume as well, says Seslowsky. Last flex play on the week.
You look like a modern-day Howard Stern in that thing. With the long hair, the bandana.
Howard Stern got nothing on me, says Seslowsky.
Yeah.
Put me in front of all them naked ladies. I can make a lot of magic happen. You never know.
I agree with that. Now, if you're listening to this right now on the audio cast, just remember, come over to YouTube. Give a look at Flex Matt. Flex Matt, he looks phenomenal in this costume. And also, let's take a minute just to tell people, do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, comment. We love that. We'll always comment back. But make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're watching this video right now, just share it. Share it. Go ahead. Just, Matt, tell them to share it real quick.
Just share it.
Share it.
But also would like everybody to know that I did not mean that comment with the naked ladies. I am happily taken. Thank you.
And he's woke. He's very woke.
Yes, Seslowsky. Hit the viewers with your final flex play on the week, says Seslowsky.
Oh my God. My final flex play. All right. So if you're scrolling down the list and you need somebody to start, recent news has come out that Aaron Jones is not going to play. Rookie A.J. Dillon is likely on your waiver wire. And if he's not, I apologize. And some of the, the crazy players but everyone's going to be scrambling to get Jamal Williams in there. Rookie A.J. Dillon, this could be a week where he emerges, comes out. They spent a second-round pick on him. He was one of our favorite running backs in the pre-draft process. I absolutely think A.J. Dillon this week for the Green Bay Packers, rookie running back, could have one of those games where he has like 50 yards and 2 touchdowns, 18, 20 points, something like that. A.J. Dillon, lock it in flex.
A.J. Dillon, yes. The next Saquon Barkley, this guy with them legs, of course, but he does not slap at the base like I do. Okay, says Seslowsky. My last flex play on the week isn't as putrid as you might think, but says Seslowsky, every single week, man, I feel like, especially this week, my RB sometimes, they ain't looking good, says Seslowsky. Guess what? I got Mixon out this week. Miles Sanders. Couldn't get Boston Scott. Says Seslowsky. Couldn't even get Corey Clement from a league. Says Seslowsky. You know who I drafted, though? Damian Harris. And you laughed at me, says Seslowsky. You laughed at me. You said that he would be the first drop player that I would have. You know what? A couple weeks ago, says Seslowsky, at 17 attempts, had 100 yards. Okay? Solid floor if used. If you, says Seslowsky. Okay? I'm hoping that I can plug in Damian Harris, hold my nose, and get me 10 points this week, says Seslowsky. Do you hate it or do you just loathe it?
Yeah, I mean, I stand by my logic that drafting him in August was a bad move but I also stand corrected that he did prove to be a capable back. He probably got those 100 yards on your bench. You probably put him in your lineup the following week, and he got your 4 points. But That said, we are where we are. I agree that he's a solid flex play, and I wouldn't be surprised if he outproduces my flex play, AJ Dillon. So I like it this week. Good job.
Yes, Seslowsky. Okay, here we are heading into week 7. Big breaking news. Seslowsky quit his job. We
Came out of the closet.
We might be looking back on this as the worst decision ever made, but we are definitely loving
What? Quitting the job, or
yes. Well, yeah.
No.
What
I was miserable. Here, wait, hold on. Here's a message for anyone listening. If you're miserable at your job, life is too short. Quit your job. Don't worry that you have a family. Let your children starve. Okay? Come out there and do what's good for you, because your happiness is paramount. Don't worry about anyone else in the world besides your own feel. Oh, wait, this is not a good message, is it?
No, this is the greatest message I've ever heard in my life, Seslowsky.
No, this was just in all seriousness, this was a well thought out family decision. I was, teaching middle school students is not for the weak of heart, and it is certainly not a career I'd ever recommend to anybody.
And he is Alan Seslowsky. Follow him at ALANSESLowsky as he writes weekly for rosterwatch.com, DFS Army, and for the Flex Network. Seslowsky, sign off, brother.
Okay, take care, my friend.
Thank you, everybody. We are heading into week 7 as we will flex on our competition, and we will just enjoy next week as a week off for Halloween. I am Flex Matt. He is Alan Seslowsky. We are the Flex Network.
The Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody. This right here is the Flex Network.